Thank you very, very much, and I want to thank Wendell and his entire staff, Rona Cohen and Eleanor Saunders and their entire team for bringing us all together. CSG is an amazing organization, and focusing on this particular issue has brought people from the entire eastern region together, and I thank them very much for their leadership on this issue. I'd also like to thank my co-chair, State Representative Chris Ross, who is sitting here as the co-chair of Energy and Environment for CSG. He's an outstanding legislator and leader in Pennsylvania, and has brought his knowledge to CSG to help us work together as we move forward. I'm pleased to see so many people that have signed up for this particular conference here today who are dedicated to the critical issues we will be tackling over the next 2 days, issues that are crucial to the safety of our communities, to the public health of our citizens, to the strength of our economy now and in the future. I am honored that our own Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs is with us today, and you'll be hearing from him in a few minutes, Richard Sullivan. He, along with our Governor, Deval Patrick, have been working on a whole range of issues as they have learned from what has taken place in this area, in New York, in New Jersey, in what has happened with Hurricane Sandy. Some $68 billion in counting in terms of the total cost of that extreme weather event. I am very pleased that a number of my colleagues will be joining us throughout the program, and so many partners here from the private sector and public sector that are very, very interested in this issue. And when we think about this issue not only as a parochial regional issue, but a global issue, it certainly is a global issue. And as evidence of that, we have Andrew Younger here, the Nova Scotia's Minister of Energy, who has joined us. We have the Consul General Rob de Vos from the Netherlands, Consul General in New York, who is with us today, and Marianne Bernard, head of post in Quebec, which has been invited to be with us today. I also wanted to mention the 21st Century Foundation. Without their help, we wouldn't be able to, put this conference on, and they are helping to fund this event, which has helped make this an important conference, possible. I have a slide, I think, here, which shows a little bit of history of the extreme weather events. Each one of these bar charts represents billion-dollar events. That's with a big B, billion-dollar events that have taken place throughout the U.S. And the events, are obviously increasing, and the intensity of the severe weather events are extraordinary. As you can see, the more states, the more every year, environmentally and economically, they are problematic for all of us who are developing policy. And in terms of not only environmentally and economically, but also the tragedy of loss of human life, which is occurring. I cannot think of a more suitable state at this point in time in which to have this discussion, but right here in our own state of Massachusetts. For already in 2014, Governor Patrick has decided to invest more than $50 million to address natural and built infrastructure vulnerabilities in Massachusetts. We have had a great partnership, which is not always the case, depending upon the state or even in our state's history, with the executive branch and the legislature working together on this particular issue, so much so that we in the legislature have actually filed legislation which is now pending, to ensure that all future administrations have a comprehensive climate adaptation management plan to protect the Commonwealth from the environmental and economic threats of extreme weather events. I, like all of you, look forward to hearing from the distinguished speakers, in particular from New York and Vermont, to give us their experiences firsthand, and other parts of the region that have had too much experience. I think they would describe it that way, too much experience with catastrophic events. As you know, it took nearly 2 years for Vermont to recover from the destruction of Hurricane Irene in 2011, and New York and New Jersey's recovery from Hurricane Sandy continues up until today, and will for some time in the future, to rebuild structures that were more than 50% destroyed. We know that Superstorm Sandy caused about 117 deaths in the United States at this point in time alone, and 87 which occurred in New York and New Jersey specifically. The cost in U.S. dollars is approximately $68 billion in economic damages, and that doesn't include the other issues that, as you see here, a cost chart of direct costs of damage from Irene and Sandy. That doesn't include the indirect costs for these states that they are incurring. We ask that all who will be presenting today, the speakers, we ask you to keep in mind that we aim to maximize interaction in this conference on the issues that are before us. We hope that you will foster a conversation which allows participants to take away as many ideas and best practices as possible. Through this conference, we will all help to create jobs and stir economic growth as we build resilient communities. If we look at these best practices and think of ways in which we can apply them to our own states to improve our infrastructure through public and private partnerships, and help identify cost-effective resiliency plans that can be turned into action.